real current photograph that just knocked everybody off their feet was your Time magazine cover. Had some serious impact.
They found 4 mothers that were breastfeeding their children to come to, to a studio in New York, and this mother that ended up on the cover actually came from Los Angeles. She was a little bit petite. She's not a very tall woman, and the boy was huge, almost 4 years old. The kid was wearing these camouflage pants, that makes him appear even older. It's not so much about the picture that people got so excited, it's more about the content.
That's one of the extraordinary things about photography. That idea of breastfeeding in this world that we live in today has somehow become something pornographic.
I was completely dumbfounded too that people thought this was kind of sexual.
It's also the kid looking back at the camera.
Well, he's almost 4, so I would just say, Can you look at the camera, please?
Yeah.
I've had the rare opportunity to meet many amazing photographers who move through their different landscapes to create powerful images. I'm always inspired by how these images transform the way we see people and understand the world. A great photograph needs no explanation, but on Capture, these incredible people tell the story of creating their most memorable images. I'm Mark Seliger, and this is Capture.
Hi, I'm Mark Seliger, and we are in my studio, and I'm here with Matthew Modine and Martin Schoeller. One of the first pictures that I saw of Martin's that I just wished I had taken, because I'm friends with the subject, was Lyle Lovett. I remember reading about it, I think it was in the New Yorker, right? I'm following your career, don't you worry. I loved it because it was Lyle Lovett on this ranch in the middle of this field, and he's roped this calf because he's really into rodeo tricks. And he was wearing the most pristine Lyle Lovett Prada suit. Just exactly the way that you would imagine Lyle Lovett to be dressed, even if he was roping calves. It was a beautiful, funny, the perfect little wink of comedy in that. And I just thought, like, that's brilliant.
That was a typical magazine assignment, kind of complicated, a little bit of a nightmare. I was sent first to Salt Lake City to photograph him, and he also rides motorcycles. They have these like salt lakes. So I found this this motocross bike that he likes to ride sometimes, and I had him in the suit, and we made the suit all dirty, and I have him flying through the air on this motorcycle.
Amazing.
In the salt lakes outside of Salt Lake City. I was very proud of myself. I come back to the New Yorker, and they're like, well, the motorcycle is not really mentioned in the article. And he's more about, country, and we feel like it would have to be more like a, country music theme. It was a little bit uncomfortable, and, I took some pictures. I wasn't excited about any of them. I went to my in-laws' house in Cleveland for Thanksgiving, and I'm sitting there, and I'm still like not happy with my pictures, and I come up with this idea of having him tie up this calf. I call him up and say, and I flew back on my own dime, and we met on a farm of a friend of his and took the picture.
I've done that a couple of times too, throwing yourself into it enough to where you're sponsoring the great shoot.
I think that's the journey of an artist, is the simplicity. When we look at photographers that we really admire over the course of their lifetimes, is the reduction of things, that was the simplicity. Let me get it down to the most simple gesture. It's the object that you put on that white desert, the object that you put on that white piece of paper, the images that you put on a piece of photographic paper. That the less you have the possibility to create what it is you're going to put on that white piece of paper.
You've worked with so many incredible directors and been in places that most of us would wish to just have a little window into. Do you make it a habit to always bring your camera in to kind of introduce that as a part of your life?
On Full Metal Jacket was that I had a luxury of time. The filming took place over the course of two years. I was getting ready to go do Full Metal Jacket, and I had a friend named Joe Kelly who said, Kubrick has this photography background. It might be great if you learned how to use this camera, show up on the set with it, and it might be a way to crack the ice with Stanley Kubrick.
Good trick.
Look at this, yeah. So I showed up on the set with my Rolleiflex and was kind of trying to, show Kubrick that I knew how to handle it. And he said, "What are you doing with that old piece of shit?" And he talked me into buying this Minolta. He said, if you want to take pictures on my set, and he encouraged me, which was really, really extraordinary, because he's so private. To be able to be given permission to take pictures on his set was extraordinary. There was just opportunity when Stanley Kubrick was photographing something that allowed me to be on that set in that moment to be able to capture something.
That's like the gift.
He told me to go out and buy this Minolta, and he told me every single lens that I should get, and I hated the Minolta. I hated everything about it.
But you had to use it because that was the camera that Stanley Kubrick told you you had.
Yeah, the one that I kept on my body while I was working on the film was the Rolleiflex. I kept it tucked inside my flak jacket, and when there was an appropriate time, I would take it out and snap a picture.
Did you have a kind of a beginning where you were inspired by photography? Was there like, I mean, a Rolleiflex is kind of Diane Arbus, Abadani.
I didn't know the history of people who had used the Rolleiflex. I just knew I'm dyslexic, and there's something about the fact that you're looking down into something and everything's kind of upside down and backward, that it was something that I suddenly saw the world the way that
you wanted to.
I could interpret it.
Yeah, it made sense to you.
Yeah, I love it.
That's amazing.
Wouldn't you like to quit your job and live the life you've always dreamed of? You're really living the dream, I would imagine, the expat dream.
I feel more free here than I do in the States.
This is it, man. This is the life. Join me, Savannah Jane Buffett, as I follow Jameson Whitbeck, a native of Vermont who dreamt of building wooden boats, and after college did just that. It wasn't long before he moved his wife and kids down to the Virgin Islands to become a charter captain of his very own handcrafted catamaran.
The first time we moved, we had, no money in the account.
1, 2, 3.
I think there's advantages and disadvantages wherever you are. It's just a trade-off, and you choose which ones you want to live with.
So this is what it's all about, right? You get to take your kids down to the beach.
Absolutely. Congratulations on making your life worth living.
Yes.